A few. A few minutes. A few times. A few years. A good idea. Good idea. It's a good idea to. That's a good idea. Agree with SB. A little. A little help. A little money. A little sugar. A lot. A lot to do. A lot of south. All day. All night. All over the world. Anything else. Anyone else. A period of time. Around the world. Arrive at. Arrive in. Ask for south. At home. At school. At the beginning of south. At the end. At the end of south. At the moment. At the same time. At the weekend. At university. At work. Away from SB, south. Bad for SB, south. Bad news. Bad thing. The bad things about south. Because of. Begin with south. Be going to do south. Best friend. Black and white. Car park. Cell phone. City center. In the city center. Come from. Come into south. He came into the room. Differences between A and B. Difficult for SB. It is difficult for SB to do south. Each other. End in south. Every day. Every week. Every year. Excuse me. Family member. Find out. Find out about south. Find out more. For a long time. A long time. For a moment. For example. For lunch. For many years. For the first time. Get home. Get married. Get off. Get off the bus. I'm getting off here. Get on. Get on the bus. Are you getting on? Get ready. Get ready for south. Get ready to do south. Get there. Get to. Get up. Go back. Go back to. Go home. Go into south. She went into her room. Good at south. Good for SB, south. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good news. Good thing. The good things about south. Go out. Go to bed. Go to school. Go to work. Grow up. Guess what? Half an hour. Hard work. Have fun. Have got. Have time. Have time for south. Have time to do south. He or she. High school. His or her. How about? How are you? How long? How many? How much? How often? Important for SB, south. It is important for SB, south to do south. I'm sorry. In April. In July, etc. In bed. In class. In fact. In front of. In my opinion. In school. In space. In summer. In winter. In the center. In the center of south. In the country. I live in the country. The best, in the country. In the future. In the morning. In the afternoon. In the evening. In the north. In the south. In the east. In the west. In the past. In the street. In the summer. In the winter. In town. It is important to do south. It takes. It takes an hour to get there. Kind of SB, south. What kind of music do you like? Know how. Know how to do south. Last time. The last time. Last year. Last month. Last summer. Last week. Last weekend. Learn how to do South. Listen to SB, South. Live with SB. Living room. Look at SB, South. Look for SB, South. Look like SB, South. Lots of. Millions of. Mobile phone. More than. Next time. Next year. Next month. Next week. No problem. Of course. Oh no. Oh yes. Old friend. Once a month. Once a week. Once a year. One day. On holiday. On Monday. On Tuesday, etc. On television. On the television. On the beach. On the floor. On the internet. On the left. On the right. On the phone. Be on the phone. Talk on the phone. On TV. Out of South. Over there. Pay for South. Phone call. Phone number. Plan for South. Make plans for South. What are your plans for next year? Play with SB, South. Post office. Pretty good. Really enjoy. I really enjoyed it. Really good. Really like. I'd really like to. Right now. See you. See you around. See you later. See you soon. Sit down. Someone else. Something else. Speak to SB. Spend time. Spend time doing South. Spend time with SB. Stand up. Stay in. Stay in a hotel. Stay in bed. I'm staying in tonight. Such as. Swimming pool. Talk about SB, South. Thank you. Thank you very much. That day. The 20th century. The 21st century. The 19th century. The next day. There is. There are. There was. There were. Think about SB, South. Think of SB, South. This is. This is my dad. This kind of. This morning. This afternoon. This evening. This time. This year. This summer. This weekend. Thousands of. Too long. Too far. Too hard. Too much. Too many. Town center. In the town center. TV show. Wait for SB, South. Wake up. Welcome to South. What about? Work as South. Work for SB, South. Work hard. Work together. Work together for South. Work together to do South. Work with SB. Would like. I would like. I would like to. Would you like? X hours a day. X times a. X times a day. X times a week. X years ago. X days ago. X months ago. X weeks ago. X years later. X days later. X minutes later. X years old. You're welcome. A bit. Able to do South. A couple of South. Add to South. Again and again. All about. Tell me all about it. All kinds of. All over. All sorts of. All the time. A long time ago. A long way. A number of South. A large number of South. Apply for South. Art gallery. As a result. As a result of South. As part of South. As part of a team. As soon as. As well. As well as SB, South. At first. At least. At the age of. At the start of South. At the time. At that time. At the time of South. At the top. At the top of South. Based on South. Be allowed to do South. Believe in SB, South. Belong to SB. Belong to South. Be made of South. By the end of South. Care about South. Carry on. Carry on with South. Carry South out. Check in. Check in at. Check South in. Check out. Check out of South. Climate change. Close to SB, South. Come back. Come on. Connected to South. Connected with SB, South. Credit card. Deal with SB. Deal with South. Depend on SB, South. Depend on SB, South for South. Depend on South. Do well. Each one. End with South. Even more. Even more difficult. Even more exciting. Everyone else. Except for. Fall in love. Fall in love with SB. Fall off. Fall off South. Far away. Feel good. Feel like South. Fill South in. Find it difficult to do South. First of all. Focus on SB, South. Followed by SB, South. For the rest of South. For this reason. Get back. Get better. Get lost. Get out. Get out of South. Give up. Give South up. Go and. Go and get help. Go away. Go down. Prices are going down. Go down south. Go down the road. Go for south. Go for a walk. Go up. Prices are going up. Good luck. Happen to SB, south. Happy with SB, south. Have a look. Have a look at south. Have got to. Have you ever? Health problems. Hear about SB, south. I don't care. If necessary. If you want to. I guess. I'm afraid. I mean. In business. In danger. In history. The first time in history. In hospital. In love. In love with SB. In prison. In some cases. Instead of. In the air. In the end. In the middle. In the middle of South. In the same way. In this way. It depends. It all depends. I think so. I don't think so. Lead to south. Less than. Let me. Let me help you. Let me know. Look after SB, South, yourself. Look back at South. Look back at your notes. Look South up. Make a mistake. Make money. Make sense. Make sure. Make sure of South. Make sure that. Much better. Not at all. I didn't enjoy it at all. No way. No way. There is no way that. Oh dear. Oh well. On earth. On the ground. On the other side. On the other side of South. On the wall. On time. On top of South, SB. One or two. Ordinary people. Pay attention. Pay attention to SB, South. Per hour. Kilometers per hour. Miles per hour. Pick SB, South up. Police officer. Police station. Public transport. Put South on. Quite a lot. Quite a lot of South. Reasons why. Refer to SB, South. Refer to SB, South as South. Report on South. Respond to South, SB. Save money. Science fiction. Search for South, SB. So that. Solution to South. Sort of South. What sorts of things do you do? Sound like SB, South. Start with SB, South. Such an. Such a good idea. Take care of SB, South, yourself. Take off. Take South off. Take part. Take part in south. Take place. The best thing. The best thing to do. The first thing. The first thing I did. The following. The following day. The important thing. The most important thing. The other side of south. The other side of the world. The rest of south. The rest of the world. These days. They say. They say you can't buy happiness. Throw south away. Turn south off. Turn south on. Up and down. Why not? Work out. Worried about SB, south. Would love to do south. Write south down. A bit more. A bit of south. Access to south. After all. A great deal. A great deal better. A great deal of south. Aim to do south. A kind of. I had a kind of feeling this. A little bit. A little more. Along with SB, south. A lot more. Alternative to south. And so on. Apart from. A range of south. A wide range of south. As if. As if nothing had happened. As much as. As soon as possible. At last. At risk. At times. Attached to SB, south. A variety of south. Be about to do south. Be going on. What's going on? Be known as SB, south. Benefit from south. Be supposed to do south. Be supposed to be south. Break up. Break up with SB. By the time that. Can't afford south. Can't afford to do south. Care for SB. Caused by south. Check SB, south out. Choose to do south. Clean up. Clean south up. Click on south. Come up with south. Compared with south. Concentrate on south. Consist of SB, south. Decide on south. Depending on. Developing countries. Due to SB, south. Economic growth. End up. Even if. Even though. Exactly the same. Experience in south. Fail to do south. Fall asleep. Far more. Far more important. Far more opportunities. Far too. Far too much homework. Fed up. For a while. For free. For instance. For life. A job for life. For long. For some time. Get on with SB. Get to know SB. Get used to south. Get used to doing south. Global warming. Go ahead. Go ahead with south. Go wrong. Growth in south. Have no idea. Have south in common. Have south in common with SB. Have south in common with south. Hear of SB, south. Heart disease. High street. Higher education. If I were you. In addition. In addition to SB, south. In a way that. In case. Just in case. In charge of SB, south. In contrast. In contrast to SB, south. In favor of SB, south. In general. In order of south. In order to do south. In other words. In particular. In public. In recent years. In response to south. In terms of south. In the case of south. In the form of SB, south. In the way that. In this case. In time. In time for south. In time to do south. In touch. Be in touch. Get in touch. Keep in touch. In touch with SB. I wonder if. Leave SB, south out. Likely to do south. Look forward to south. Look out. Make a difference. Make south up. Manage to do south. Mean to do south. I didn't mean to. More and more. Move on. Move on to south. No longer. Not any longer. No more than. Not even. I didn't even see it. Not necessarily. Not only. Not only, but also. On a regular basis. On my own. On their own. On your own. On the other hand. On the street. On the streets. On the way. Or something. Or somebody. Or somewhere. Or two. A day or two. A moment or two. A pound or two. Ought to. Out there. Over the years. Over time. Participate in South. Point of view. Point out. Point south out. Point out that. Prepared to do south. Primary school. Prime Minister. Put south up. Quite a good player. Quite a long time. Raise money. Raise money for South. Rather than. Reaction to South. Relate to South, SB. Relating to South, SB. Related to South, SB. Respect for SB, South. Result in South. Rise in South. A rise in the number of visitors. Run out. Run out of South. Search engine. Secondary school. Set South up. Slow down. So far. Some kind of. Succeed in doing South. Suffer from South. Sure to do South. Take SB, South on. Take up South. Take up too much room. Take South up. Take up golf. Tell the truth. Tend to do South. Tend to be South. Thanks to SB, South. That's it. The case. Be the case that. The fact that. Those who. There are those who say. To do with SB, South. Be to do with SB, South. Have to do with SB, South. Together with. Too bad. Try and. Turn out. Turn out to be South. Turn South up. Unable to do South. Up to South. Up to 60 miles per hour. Way of life. Well known. Work on south. Work south out. Wrong with SB, south. You see. A bit of a. Account for south. Accused of south. Act as south. Aimed at SB. Aimed at doing south. All the way. A means of south. A means of communication. A means of transport. Appeal to SB. Apply to SB, south. As a whole. As far as I am concerned. As follows. As for SB, south. As long as. Associated with south. Associated with doing south. As though. At once. At present. At some point. At the end of the day. At this point. At this stage. Awareness of south. Back SB, south up. Be charged with south. Be charged with doing south. Be derived from south. Be expected to do south. Be known to do south. Be made up of south. Be surrounded by SB, south. Be to blame. Be to blame for south. Both sides. Both sides of the argument. On both sides. Bound to do south. Bound to be south. Bring SB up. By now. Call for south. Case study. Come across SB, south. Come true. A dream come true. Concerned about south. Concerned with south. Confidence in SB, south. Contribute to south. Control over SB, south. Cope with south. Decline in south. A decline in student numbers. Dependent on SB, south. Despite the fact that. Draw attention to SB, south. Engage in south. Engaged in south. Ever since. Exposure to south. Far from south. Far from doing south. Figure SB, south out. Find yourself doing south. Get in. Get into south. The train got in late. Get over south, SB. You'll get over it. Get rid of SB, south. Go off. She went off to get a drink. A bomb went off. The alarm went off. The lights went off. Go on to do south. Go through south. Had better. Hang on. Human being. Human rights. If only. I have to say. In action. In advance. In an attempt to do south. In part. In place. In relation to SB, south. In spite of south. In the first place. In the near future. In turn. Investment in south. I would say. Loads of SB, south. Mental health. More or less. No doubt. No matter. No matter how. No matter what. Nothing but. On board. Once again. One another. On the basis of south. On the one hand. Opposed to south. Also. Other than. Potential for south. Pretty much. Prior to. Prove to be south. Put south forward. Put south together. Quality of life. Ranging from. Prices ranging from €25 to €60. Regarded as south. Relevant to SB, south. Rely on SB, south. Role model. Set out. Short of south. So as to do south. Something like. Sort SB, south, yourself out. Stick to south. Subject to south. Sum up. Sum south up. Take advantage of SB, south. Take south into account. Take over. Take over from SB. That is. The vast majority of south. Turn into south. Up to SB. When it comes to south. When it comes to doing south. Whether or not. Would rather. Above all. All but. All the more. As far as SB, south is concerned. As of. As opposed to. As such. As to south. As to how. As to whether. At the expense of SB, south. At the hands of SB. Back and forth. Bear SB, South in mind. Bear in mind that. Keep SB, South in mind. Keep in mind that. Be attributed to SB. Be entitled to South. Be found to do South. Be meant to do South. Be reported to be South. Be reported to have South. Be said to be South. Be said to have South. Bring South about. Bring South up. By means of South. By no means. Call on SB. Call on SB to do South. Consistent with South. Dedicated to South. Deprive SB, South of South. Dispose of SB, South. Follow South up. For that matter. For the benefit of SB. For the sake of SB, South. Get away with South. Given that. Have SB, South in mind. Have SB, South in mind for South. Have nothing to do with SB, South. Be nothing to do with SB, South. In accordance with South. In any case. In a position to do South. In conjunction with SB, South. In connection with SB, South. In effect. In full. In line with South. In practice. In respect of South. In such a way that. In the absence of SB, South. In the course of. In the event of South. In the face of South. In the hands of SB. In the light of South. In light of South. In the meantime. In the midst of South. In the presence of SB. In the presence of South. In the wake of SB, South. Involvement in South. Let alone. Little more than. Live on South. May well. Nothing like. Not to mention. On behalf of SB. On the part of SB. Over the course of. Put it. How shall I put it? Seek to do South. Set to do South. The extent to which. To date. His best work to date. Up against South. With regard to SB, South. With respect to South. With the exception of SB, South. According to. Account for the fact that. Across the globe. Ahead of schedule. All of a sudden. Amount to South. An increasing number of. Answer for South. Apart from that. At a glance. At any rate. At short notice. At stake. At the same rate. Attach importance to. Be absent from. Be capable of. Be committed to. Be concerned about. Be confined to. Be confronted with. Be considered as. Be dependent upon. Be exposed to. Be familiar with. Be faced with. Be involved in. Be linked to. Be responsible for. Be subject to change. Be willing to. Break down. Bring forward. Build up. By accident. By chance. By comparison. By contrast. By definition. By far. By nature. By way of. Carry out research. Catch up with. Come about. Come into existence. Come to terms with. Cope with pressure. Cut down on. Date back to. Deal in south. Devote oneself to. Do away with. Draw a conclusion. Draw on south. Due to the fact that. Ease of use. Endanger the environment. Face up to. Fall behind. Far beyond. Far less. For one thing. For the purpose of. From now on. From time to time. Gain access to. Generate income. Give rise to. Go beyond. Have access to. Have an impact on. Have difficulty doing south. Have little choice but to. Have no access to. Have the potential to. Hold true. In actual fact. In all likelihood. In comparison with. In consequence. In depth. In excess of. In favor of doing south. In large part. In many respects. In one way or another. In principle. In proportion to. In question. In reality. In short. In the long run. In the process of. In theory. In view of. Keep pace with. Keep track of. Lack of south. Lay the foundation for. Might happen. Lead the way. Leave behind. Make an effort. Make use of. Meet the needs of. No exception. No wonder. On account of. On average. On balance. On condition that. On purpose. On the grounds that. On the whole. Open up opportunities. Owing to. Play a crucial role in. Play a part in. Play an important role. Pose a threat to. Prior knowledge. Provide access to. Put pressure on. Reach a conclusion. Recover from. Regardless of. Result from. Right away. Run the risk of. Serve as. Set an example. Share responsibility for. Show respect for. So to speak. Sooner or later. Speak highly of. Stand for. Step by step. Take action. Take charge of. Take effect. Take into consideration. Take measures. Take responsibility for. Take steps to. Take the lead. Thanks to the fact that. The likelihood of. The majority of. The possibility of. The purpose of. The result of. The significance of. The use of. Think highly of. To a certain extent. To a large extent. To some extent. To this end. Under pressure. Under the circumstances. Underway. Up to a point. Use up. With a view to. With confidence. With ease. With reference to. With the aim of. Within reach. Within walking distance. Without doubt. Without exception. Without fail. Work towards. Worth doing. A matter of fact. Beyond doubt. Beyond recognition. By all means. For the most part. From scratch. Have regard for. Hold responsibility for. In broad terms. In essence. In keeping with. In line with expectations. In response to changes. Make progress in. Place emphasis on. Raise awareness of. Set priorities. Take precedence over. The root cause of. Under no circumstances. With certainty. With good reason. Without regard to. Yield results. A growing body of evidence. A matter of concern. A pressing issue. A range of factors. A significant proportion of. A striking feature of. According to recent research. Achieve a balance between. Acquire knowledge of. Address an issue. Adversely affect. Adopt an approach. All things considered. An emerging trend. An integral part of. An overwhelming majority. Assume responsibility for. At the forefront of. Be accompanied by. Be consistent with. Be conducive to. Be confronted by. Be crucial to. Be detrimental to. Be eligible for. Be essential to. Be indicative of. Be inherent in. Be instrumental in. Be incompatible with. Be indispensable to. Be justified in. Be liable to. Be motivated by. Be obliged to. Be perceived as. Be prevalent among. Be prone to. Be receptive to. Be reflective of. Be relevant to. Be resistant to. Be susceptible to. Be synonymous with. Be vital to. Broaden one's horizons. Bring into question. Call into question. Carry considerable weight. Cater for the needs of. Come under pressure. Command attention. Compare and contrast. Comply with regulations. Conduct an investigation. Constitute a threat to. Contribute significantly to. Cope effectively with. Create opportunities for. Create the impression that. Derive benefit from. Draw a distinction between. Exert an influence on. Face considerable challenges. Foster economic growth. Gain recognition for. Generate employment opportunities. Give priority to. Have implications for. Have relevance to. Have widespread effects. Hold the view that. Improve quality of life. In a broader context. In a meaningful way. In a practical sense. In an effort to. In conjunction with. In contemporary society. In contrast with. In economic terms. In educational settings. In environmental terms. In many instances. In measurable terms. In practical terms. In social contexts. In the broader sense. In the context of. In the pursuit of. In the short term. In the long term. Increase awareness of. Influence decision making. Keep abreast of. Lead to undesirable consequences. Make a valuable contribution. Meet expectations. Merit consideration. Academic achievement. Academic performance. Academic success. Access to education. Acquire knowledge. Adult learners. Advanced skills. Analytical skills. Assessment criteria. Educational background. Educational opportunities. Educational outcomes. Educational system. Basic literacy. Behavioral problems. Broaden knowledge. Career prospects. Classroom activities. Cognitive development. Communication skills. Compulsory education. Critical thinking. Cultural awareness. Curriculum design. Develop skills. Digital literacy. Distance learning. Educational attainment. Educational resources. Equal access. Exam preparation. Experiential learning. Gain experience. General knowledge. Improve performance. Independent learning. Language acquisition. Language skills. Learning environment. Learning experience. Learning outcomes. Lifelong learning. Literacy skills. Make progress. Meet requirements. Memory retention. Motivational factors. Online learning. Practical experience. Practical skills. Primary education. Professional development. Problem-solving skills. Quality education. Research skills. Secondary education. Self-directed learning. Social development. Specialist knowledge. Student engagement. Study habits. Subject knowledge. Teaching methods. Theoretical knowledge. Vocational training. Work experience. Academic discipline. Educational policy. Educational reform. Learning process. Learning strategies. Learning styles. Professional qualifications. Research findings. School curriculum. Student achievement. Student performance. Teaching quality. University students. Valuable skills. Academic qualifications. Educational institutions. Educational standards. Effective learning. Formal education. Informal learning. Learning capacity. Learning difficulties. Learning opportunities. Educational provision. Intellectual development. Knowledge transfer. Personal development. Professional skills. Student motivation. Teaching approach. Training programs. University education. Valuable experience. Greenhouse gases. Carbon emissions. Carbon footprint. Fossil fuels. Renewable energy. Solar energy. Wind energy. Clean energy. Sustainable development. Sustainable practices. Environmental impact. Environmental protection. Environmental damage. Environmental concerns. Environmental issues. Environmental awareness. Environmental policies. Natural resources. Finite resources. Energy consumption. Energy efficiency. Energy demand. Energy production. Air pollution. Water pollution. Noise pollution. Environmental pollution. Waste management. Waste disposal. Household waste. Industrial waste. Recycling programs. Recycling facilities. Recycle materials. Conservation efforts. Nature conservation. Biodiversity loss. Habitat destruction. Endangered species. Wildlife conservation. Wildlife habitats. Ecosystem services. Ecological balance. Natural habitats. Marine life. Coastal erosion. Rising sea levels. Extreme weather. Weather patterns. Climate conditions. Climate policies. Climate scientists. Carbon dioxide. Carbon neutral. Low carbon economy. Carbon reduction. Reduce emissions. Cut emissions. Greenhouse effect. Deforestation rates. Forest conservation. Tropical rainforest. Tree planting. Sustainable agriculture. Organic farming. Intensive farming. Agricultural practices. Food production. Food security. Water scarcity. Water shortages. Fresh water supplies. Drinking water. Population growth. Urban expansion. Urban development. Urbanization process. Land use. Traffic congestion. Vehicle emissions. Air quality. Environmental sustainability. Sustainable transport. Renewable resources. Non-renewable resources. Resource depletion. Conservation measures. Environmental responsibility. Ecological footprint. Environmental regulations. Environmental standards. Sustainable lifestyle. Green technology. Green spaces. Climate adaptation. Climate mitigation. Long-term sustainability. Artificial intelligence. Machine learning. Deep learning. Information technology. Digital technology. Digital devices. Digital platforms. Digital transformation. Digital economy. Digital environment. Digital skills. Digital communication. Internet access. Internet connection. Internet users. Internet usage. Online services. Online platforms. Online communities. Online content. Online activity. Online shopping. Online transactions. Online banking. Online education. Online courses. Remote learning. Virtual classrooms. Social media. Social networking sites. Social media platforms. Social interaction. Social connections. Digital media. Mass media. Media coverage. Media influence. Media consumption. Information sharing. Information exchange. Access to information. Information overload. Information sources. Reliable information. Data collection. Data analysis. Data processing. Personal data. User data. Data privacy. Privacy concerns. Privacy protection. Cybersecurity measures. Cyber threats. Cybersecurity. Security risks. Technological innovation. Technological progress. Technological advances. Technological developments. Scientific advances. Scientific breakthroughs. Automation technologies. Automated systems. Robotic technology. Industrial automation. Labor-saving technology. Advanced technology. Cutting-edge technology. Emerging technologies. Technological solutions. Digital divide. Technological gap. Access to technology. Technology adoption. Technology integration. Mobile devices. Mobile applications. Smartphone users. Wireless technology. Communication technology. Communication networks. Cloud computing. Computing power. Software development. Hardware systems. Search algorithms. Search engines. Recommendation systems. Artificial neural networks. Virtual reality. Augmented reality. Digital experiences. User experience. Online behavior. Consumer behavior. Technological literacy. Future technologies. Knowledge-based economy. Physical health. Public health. Healthcare system. Healthcare services. Healthcare professionals. Medical treatment. Medical care. Medical research. Medical advances. Medical technology. Healthcare costs. Healthcare provision. Life expectancy. Healthy lifestyle. Healthy diet. Balanced diet. Nutritious food. Dietary habits. Eating habits. Unhealthy diet. Processed food. Fast food. Food intake. Calorie intake. Nutritional value. Regular exercise. Physical activity. Physical fitness. Fitness levels. Exercise routine. Sedentary lifestyle. Active lifestyle. Weight gain. Weight loss. Obesity rates. Childhood obesity. Obesity epidemic. Chronic diseases. Cardiovascular disease. High blood pressure. Diabetes management. Cancer treatment. Disease prevention. Preventive healthcare. Preventive measures. Public awareness. Health education. Health promotion. Health campaigns. Health risks. Risk factors. Health conditions. Mental well-being. Emotional well-being. Psychological well-being. Mental disorders. Mental illness. Stress management. Work-related stress. Stress levels. Sleep quality. Sleeping patterns. Sleep deprivation. Healthy habits. Unhealthy habits. Alcohol consumption. Tobacco use. Smoking habits. Substance abuse. Addiction problems. Healthcare access. Access to healthcare. Healthcare inequalities. Health disparities. Aging population. Elderly care. Long-term care. Patient care. Patient safety. Medical diagnosis. Treatment options. Treatment outcomes. Recovery process. Rehabilitation programs. Immune system. Infectious diseases. Disease outbreak. Public safety. Workplace safety. Occupational health. Healthy environment. Overall well-being. Health benefits. Health outcomes. Healthcare funding. Health-related issues. Economic development. Economic activity. Economic performance. Economic stability. Economic prosperity. Economic inequality. Economic conditions. Economic policies. Economic benefits. Financial resources. Financial support. Financial assistance. Financial burden. Financial difficulties. Financial incentives. Financial stability. Financial security. Business sector. Private sector. Public sector. Labor market. Job market. Employment opportunities. Employment prospects. Employment rates. Unemployment rates. Job creation. Job losses. Job satisfaction. Job security. Working conditions. Working environment. Working hours. Work-life balance. Career development. Career advancement. Professional experience. Professional expertise. Skilled workers. Highly skilled workforce. Labor force. Workforce participation. Workforce productivity. Employee performance. Employee satisfaction. Employee retention. Staff training. Professional training. Vocational skills. Consumer demand. Market demand. Market trends. Market competition. Competitive advantage. Business opportunities. Business operations. Business strategy. Business growth. Business expansion. Global economy. Global markets. Global trade. International trade. Free trade. Trade barriers. Foreign investment. Direct investment. International investment. Income levels. Living standards. Household income. Disposable income. Income distribution. Poverty reduction. Social mobility. Wealth creation. Wealth distribution. Research evidence. Research methodology. Research project. Scientific research. Academic research. Empirical evidence. Statistical data. Reliable data. Data interpretation. Research outcomes. Evidence-based approach. Innovation-driven growth. Productivity gains. Economic transformation. Sustainable growth. Long-term investment. Public expenditure. Government funding. Public investment. Economic sustainability.